Well, welcome everyone. It's another week of inspiring stories. And as always, Cliff has a powerful, in depth journey that he's going to walk us through. Cliff, take us on another wonderful ride.
Thanks, April. This week, my story is when I was interviewing for my job at the Kohler Company. I had to go through a series of interviews, and then after I had passed that particular portion of it, they were going to send me up to corporate headquarters up in Kohler, Wisconsin, to meet with, I think at that time, the director of sales for the company and then the vice president of the company. And I went up and I first met with that director of sales, and I think that interview went fairly well. As typical interviews. I was qualified for the job, and I wanted the job, and I could tell that he was interested in me. So he said, "Hey, you have to wait a few minutes, and then we're going to send you in to speak with the vice president." And so I went into the vice president's office, and he was sitting behind this desk with all these papers on it. He was literally peeking over the top, and he was asking me the standard questions that you get in most interviews, asking me about my experience in sales and my experience in the industry and so forth and so on. And then finally, he just sort of turned to me and he asked me this question, and it really sort of stopped me dead in my tracks. But the question he asked me is, what was the most flattering thing that ever happened to you? And, I'm a lucky guy. When people, hit me with questions, I can usually come back with something fairly quickly. And in this particular case, you know, this is what came out of my mouth. And I said to him, I said, well, I can't give you a story about business being the most flattering thing that ever happened to me, but I will tell you a personal story. When I was in college, a blind girl fell in love with me. And he stopped dead in his tracks at that time, and he looked at me and he said, wow, that's the best answer anybody ever gave me for that question. And we started to laugh, and obviously the tension was broken in the room. And all he really was trying to find out, obviously, was what was important to me, And I think it's a great question for any interviewer when you're, interviewing somebody, is finding out what's important to them and what really drives them. So I hope for you guys that for you that you can tell us maybe you could tell us what's the strangest question anybody ever asked you in an interview or out, or maybe a humorous story of what happened to you when that question was thrown your way.
And what was the flattering thing that you discovered, right? That
Yeah,
was
what was
excellent.
it? What
Good.
was it?
Thank you for sharing, Cliff, as always. We look forward to your insight, your stories, and sharing with whoever you feel would get value. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Thanks, April.